So to talk to you guys about my Toxic deck, my commander I'm running, as you can see here, Atraxa, Preter's Voice. Now, everybody knows, if you're into Magic, how good this card actually is. The fact of how you can just build so many ways around this card. It is a 4-drop. It's 1 green, 1 white, 1 blue, and 1 black. What makes this a card really good, especially if you're running a toxic and infect deck, is that it's got proliferate. Its 4 abilities that it has is flying, vigilance, dead touch, and lifelink. And at the beginning of your end step, you proliferate. So the key thing about this deck that I have is that it's got a good mix of both infect and toxic. And then having a mix of that, you proliferate, you can really end the game really fast if things play out really well. So if I get the deck set up the way I want it to, games that this deck is in really doesn't last that long, because I can really initiate poison counters really fast. And here is Atraxa Grand Unifier. Pretty much does the same thing, but it's an additional 3 cost. However, when this card enters the battlefield, you reveal the top 10 cards of your library. And for each card type, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. Then you put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And it is a 7/7. So this is one of the best looking cards I've seen. So I really like it. And it just really fits the theme of my deck really well. So now let's begin talking about the different types of creatures I'm running throughout this deck. Let's get this away here. Starting with my infect creatures. Got several of them here. My boy Skitherix also goes by the codename Skittles. Really like this card. In my previous videos of my Ninjutsu, I also have this kind of card in my Ninjutsu deck. Now, what's really good about this guy is that, I mean, yes, it is a 5-drop, but he also has flying and infect. If you pay additional 1 black, he's also got haste. So right off the rip, he can start causing 4 infect damage. So the way infect works is that this guy is only dealing damage as poison counters. So he's not doing 4 damage physically. He's initiating 4 infect damage, which causes 4 poison counters. And you give this guy haste, and since he's flying, he's a lot harder to deal with. He's already popping off 4 poison counters just like that. So he's one of my favorite cards in this deck. All right, Soul Eater here. He's an insect. It's a 5-drop. With this symbol here, it can be paid with either 1 black or with 2 life. So a creature with infect deals damage to creatures in the form of -1 counters, and the players in the form of poison counters. So like I just said, this guy comes out, he's unblocked, he's popping off 3 poison counters just like that. Phyrexian Swarmlord. It's a 6-drop with 2 green and additional 4 mana. Also deals infect. What really makes him good is that at the beginning of your upkeep, you create a 1/1 green Phyrexian insect creature token with infect for each poison counter your opponents already have. That's amazing. So that way you're just rapidly putting out green Phyrexian insect tokens based off the amount of poison counters your opponent has. Rats. One of my friends I play Magic with, he has a good rats deck. I'm not really a big fan of rats, but with this guy here, as he enters the battlefield, each player gets a poison counter, and he's a 3-drop with just 2 black and 1 mana. And he's also dealing with infect damage. But all he has to do is just enter in the battlefield, and bam, just like that, a poison counter. All right, Phyrexian Crusader. It's 3-drop. It's also got first strike, protection from red and green and white. Also dealing 2 infect damage. And for a 3-drop, it's pretty good because with it already having first strike and protection from red and white, really good. I don't see a lot of players I play up against, they do end up playing red and white, so. And red kind of is a common color as well as white. All right, Plague Stinger. It's Phyrexian Insect Horror. It's 2-drop. Also has flying. All right, Toxic Nim. Also dealing 4 infect damage. It is a 6-drop. You can also regenerate them. Okay. Core Prowler. It's an artifact creature. It's 4-drop. Deals 2 infect damage. When a core prowler is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, proliferate. Chained Throat Seeker. It's a 6-drop. It can't attack unless the defending player is poisoned. Now, considering that this guy is already a 6-drop, chances are I'm already going to have a poison counter started. Hopefully. It's already dealing 5 infect damage. So right when this guy is attacking, with 5 infect damage, the game is almost halfway over. All right. Viral Drake. It's a 4-drop. It's got flying. You can also pay 4 mana for 1 blue and 3 regular, and you proliferate. All right. Flinzer Might. It's a gremlin. It's also a 2-drop. What makes this guy really good is that it's got lifelink. As I'm proliferating +1/+1 counters, as this guy's doing damage for me, infect damage, he's also gaining me life as well as he's doing damage. Really good card. Shriek Raptor. It's a 5-drop. He's also got flying and does 2 infect. This is the only white infect card I have in here, as far as I know. Yes, it is. So that's it for my infect creatures. All right, now to talk about my toxic creatures. And yeah, they are toxic. This guy right here is my favorite one. Tyrannix Rex. It's a 7-drop. It's a Phyrexian dinosaur. This spell cannot be countered, and it's got trample, ward, and haste. And for it to have all that, and for it to be and for it to do already 8 damage, it's popping off 4 toxic damage as well. Now the way toxic damage works is that not only it's doing 8 damage, but it's also initiating 4 toxic counters. So this is different. So toxic is a lot different from the damage that it's doing. So it's not only it's doing damage, but it's also putting out 4 damage, 4 toxic damage. And ideally, the way this guy would work is if I give him Maze's Mantle, enchant creature. He's getting +2/+2. He's doing 10. But if a enchanted creature has toxic, that creature gains hexproof. So not only does would he have trample, ward, and haste, but also hexproof with Maze's Mantle. So he'd be really difficult to deal with. Okay, Doomhive. It's a Phyrexian insect. It's a white, black, and green drop with additional 2 mana. He's got Menace and Toxic 1. When Doomhive enters the battlefield, you create 3 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mites. Artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't be blocked. Can't block. It also gets a +1/+1 for each poison counter your opponents have. So, with this guy coming out, you're already getting 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact tokens, and they all have Toxic. So, this guy was a good addition to the deck. The only thing I don't like about this card is how expensive it is. But once you get him out there, it is worth it. Instead of having Menace, again, he's really difficult to deal with because you have to have 2 blockers in order to prevent toxic damage. Blight Belly Rat, another rat that I have. When he dies, he proliferates. So he's also adding up more poison counters. He's also got Toxic 1, and he does 2 damage. Defector Mite, it's a good thing he's a 1-drop, 1 white. He cannot block. However, if I end up paying 2 life, tap this creature, you choose a color. Another target creature you control gains Toxic 1 and Hexproof from that color until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn as well. So either I can pay 2 life or 1 white. Tainted Observer. It's a 3-drop. 1 green, 1 blue, and 1 regular mana. It's got flying. He does 1 toxic damage. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield on your control, you may pay 2. If you do, you proliferate. Bloated Contaminator. It's a Phyrexian Beast. It's a 3-drop with 1 green and 2 regular mana. It's got Trample. So with it having Trample, despite with him being blocked, he's probably going to do 1 toxic damage he's still after being blocked. Now, if he's being blocked by a creature with greater power or defense, chances are I'm probably not going to get the toxic damage off. But for it to be a 4/4, it's a good chance that the toxic one will still hit. Whenever Bloated Intimidator deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. So it's a really good card. Venerated Rot Priest. He's a Phyrexian Druid. It's a 1-drop for 1 green. Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. It's also got Toxic 1. Alright. Got this Phyrexian Insect here. It's a 2-drop, 1 black and 1 regular mana. It's got flying. And also does 1 toxic damage. Alright. Got a Blight Stalker here. 1 green and 1 regular mana. She does 2 toxic damage. Alright. Bellius Scold Weller. It's a Phyrexian insect. It's a 1-drop. Good thing about this guy is that it's got Death Touch as well as Toxic 1. Alright. Scion of Atraxa. It's a 4-drop. Where it'd be 1 regular, 1 white, 1 black, and 1 green. It's a Phyrexian Angel. This guy's really good because for it to have flying, vigilance, and toxic 2, it really makes it difficult because since it's up in the air, I'm doing 2 toxic damage as well as 2 other 2 damage. Its a corrupted ability is at the beginning of your end step, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters exiles the top card of their library face down. You may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So its corrupted ability is really great. Voidwing Hybrid. It's a 2-drop, 1 blue and 1 black. It's a Phyrexian bat. It's got flying and toxic 1. When you proliferate, return Voidwing Hybrid from your graveyard to your hand. So keep in mind, this guy will just keep on coming back. I mean, chances are with this deck, I'm proliferating almost every turn. All right, Mirror Convert. It's 2-drop. It's got toxic 1. I can tap it and pay 2 life and add 1 mana of any color. All right. Now to talk to you guys about my proliferation creatures. All these creatures here either proliferate or add on additional plus one counters. So this Leviathan here is a 6-drop. When this creature enters the battlefield, proliferate. It's a 5/6. All right, Pollen Bright Druid. It's a 2-drop. When this creature enters the battlefield, choose 1. Either I put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, or I proliferate. This is really situational here, but either way, it benefits me. All right, Inquiry Dominus. It's a 4-drop, 2 blue and 2 other mana. It's got flying, and if you would proliferate twice instead. Or you can pay additional 1 mana or 4 life or 2 blue. Remove 3 counters from among other artifact creatures or artifacts. And planeswalkers you control, put an indestructible counter on this creature. Canker Bloom. It's 2-drop. It's a Phyrexian fungus. You pay 1, sacrifice this creature. You choose one of the 3. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or proliferate. Deep Glow Skate. It's a 5-drop. When this creature enters the battlefield, double the number of each kind of counter on any number of target permanents. This is good because, especially for my infect creatures, if they get +1 counters of any type, this guy's doubling those counters. I got Metastatic Evangel. 2-drop, 1 regular and 1 white. It's a Phyrexian human cleric. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, proliferate. Throwing Bird. It's a Phyrexian bird. It's a 2-drop, 1 regular and 1 blue. It's got flying, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. I like the artwork on this card. Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite. It's a 7-drop. It's 2 white and 5 regular. It's got vigilance. And other creatures you control get +2/+2. Creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. So either way, with this card coming in, it's an all-win situation for me. Stalker of Spheres. Missouri. It's a 4-drop, 1 green, 1 blue, an additional 2 mana. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, proliferate twice. Whenever you proliferate, draw a card. Norn's Chiron Master. It's a 5-drop, 2 white, 3 other mana. It's a Phyrexian Angel. It's got flying and first strike. Whenever a commander you control enters the battlefield or attacks, proliferate. Evolution Sage. It's a 3-drop, 1 green, 2 mana. Whenever a land enters the battlefield on your control, proliferate. This is good because as I'm putting out more and more land, I'm proliferating, no matter what the counters are. Here are my planeswalkers here. I have 4 of them. I'll just go ahead and lay them out real quick. So here I got Vraska, Betrayal Sting. I think she's one of my best planeswalkers in this deck. She's a 4 regular mana, 1 black, or I can pay 2 life or additional 1 black. Her ability is completed. You can either pay 1 black or 2 life. If life was paid, this planeswalker enters with 2 fewer loyalty counters. So ideally, I'd probably want to pay an additional 1 black. Her negative 0, her 0 ability is you draw a card and you lose 1 life as you proliferate. Her neg 2 ability is target creature becomes a treasure artifact with sacrifices artifact, and you add 1 mana of any color and it loses all other card types and abilities. And that is nasty. I mean, that is really vicious because if I get so say if one of my opponent's creatures are out in the field, I can decide, hey, that's now a treasure artifact, and I'm going to sacrifice it to get pretty much a treasure token. And her neg 9 ability is if the target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. And that can come in clutch because say if they have like 6 poison counters, all right, and they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. Sorry, my cat's in the way. They're getting 3 more poison counters. If like for example, they have 6 poison counters, so 9 minus 6, 3. So that can be really good. All right. Toyo, the Shield Mage, 2 mana and 1 white. He will give me hexproof. So basically, I can't be a target of spells or abilities my opponents control. And also, you create a 0 and 3 white wall creature token with Defender. So this guy is really good for protection. It's more of a defensive planeswalker. All right, and here I have Kyra, Behemoth Beckoner. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield on your control, draw a card. Or I can also do negative 1 ability and a tap target permanent. Here I got Vivian, Arcbow Ranger. She's got a lot going on here. It's a 4-drop, 3 green, and 1 regular. Her +1 ability is distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among up to 2 target creatures, and they also gain trample until end of turn. Negative 3 ability is a target creatures you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. And finally, her -5 ability is you may choose a creature card you own from outside the game, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So, usually, ideally with this planeswalker, I would like to distribute 2 additional +1/+1 counters among up to like my heavy infect creatures, considering that some of my infect creatures are the more heavy hitters. All right, here are my artifacts. Got several of them here. Quicksilver Amulet. It's a 4-drop. You can also pay 4 to have this artifact. If you do, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. The reason why I have this artifact here is that some of my creatures are really expensive, as you saw, and really important to pop off quickly. So that's why I have this in here, because no matter what, if I just have this and pay 4, I'm good bringing those guys out. Helm of the Host. Now this could be a game changer in a way to where if I pay 4 and then equip 5, ideally I would equip this artifact onto my commander. And I could do so because at the beginning of combat on your turn, you create a token that's a copy of equipped creature. Except the token isn't legendary. And that's what makes it legal for my commander to be equipped with this. All right, and that token gains haste. So if I made a copy of my commander, I'm proliferating twice, and also I'm basically having 2 Atraxa Praetor's Voice. So that's what makes this piece of equipment really good. All right, here of course I got Soul Ring, Commander Sphere. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, or you can sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. Golgari Signet, 2-drop. Artifact, you pay 1, you get additional dual blue and green land. Azorius Signet, it's 2-drop. You pay 1, you get 1 white and blue land. Orzhov Signet, it's 2-drop. Pay 1 or get 1 white and 1 black. Chromatic Lantern, this is a 3-drop. I like this artifact because lands you have as a tap, you add 1 mana of any color, and with this, you add 1 mana. You add additional 1 mana of any color. So, depending on the creatures I have in my hand, and if I have a certain amount of land to bring that creature out, no matter what with this, as long as I have that number of mana that it requires, I can basically spend any mana I have to cast that creature. An Arcane Signet. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, and it is a 2-drop. Along with my enchantments, I've already mentioned this card earlier. It's got Flash, so I can cast it as an instant, pretty much. Like that's what makes this card really good, because not only this is enchantment, this also works as an instant. Because of it having Flash, I can cast it during someone else's turn. So as I enchant a creature, when Maze's Mantle enters the battlefield, if a enchanted creature has Toxic, that creature gains hexproof until end of turn. A enchanted creature gets +2/+2. All right, Necrogen Communion. It's 2-drop, 1 black and 1 regular mana. Enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature has stocks of 2. When a enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Fertile Ground. It's a 1 green and 1 regular mana. As you enchant land, whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color. Inexorable Tide, 2 blue, 3 regular mana. When you cast a spell, proliferate. So when this guy, all right. So when this enchantment's out, any spell I'm casting, I'm proliferating. So like someone's getting a poison counter every time I'm bringing something out. So this is ideal for a toxic deck. Catherine's Crusade. This enchantment's really good. It is a 5-drop. It's 2 white, 3 regular mana. Whenever a creature you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So keep in mind, I'm always proliferating, and when each of my creatures are getting +1/+1 counter put on them, those counters are going to be adding up. So that's why this enchantment's in here. Now to talk about my instance. I got Tainted Strike. It's a 1 black. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains an effect until end of turn. With my heavy toxic creatures that I have, this is the card I would do that for. So, for instance, if one of my creatures that are dealing with toxic here, hold on. So not only is this guy doing 2 toxic damage, but he's also doing 2 infect. So it's basically 4 poison counters that guy's popping off with. So I would only put this on one of my toxic creatures. All right, Vraska's Fall. It's a 3-drop, 1 black and 2 mana. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker and gets a poison counter. And this is good because my opponents are really going to hate me getting this going, because they're going to not only give up a creature or planeswalker, but they are also getting a poison counter on top of that. So that sucks either way. Offer Mortality. It's a 2-drop, 1 black and 1 regular mana. Target creature gains Death Touch and indestructible until end of turn. I would actually use this instant if someone was targeting my commander, just to give it protection from, for example, from instants that are trying to destroy my commander or anything like that. Ripples of Potential. It's a 2-drop, 1 blue and 1 regular mana. This instant has a proliferate, and then choose any number of permanents you control that had a counter put on them this way. And those permanents phase out. So when they phase out, they basically don't exist on the battlefield. So you can't really target them if they phase out. Hero, whatever. It's a 3-drop, 1 green, and 2 regular mana. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a land. You can also search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Prologue to Phyresis. 2-drop, 1 blue and 1 regular mana. Each opponent gets a poison counter and draw a card. So again, this favors into my odds because all my opponents are getting a poison counter while I'm getting a card. So hopefully I get a card that has proliferate. Atomize. It's a 4-drop, 2 regular mana, 1 black and 1 green. Destroy target non-land permanent, and then proliferate. And there are my instants. Alright, now to get on my sorceries here. I have Yes Summons. It's a 4-drop, 2 black and 2 regular mana. Return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Here's another corrupted ability for each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters. As you cast a spell, put up to 1 target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Rampant Growth. This is a good sorcery for me to get land. It's a 2-drop. Thirsting Roots. 1 green mana. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Or I can proliferate. Alright, Cultivate. It's a 3-drop. 1 green and 2 mana. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, and put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, and then shuffle. Contentious Plan. 2-drop, 1 blue and 1 regular mana. I can proliferate and draw a card. Gix's Command. It's a sorcery. It's a 5-drop, 2 black and 3 regular mana. With this guy, I can choose 2. So I can either put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 creature. It gains lifelink until end of turn. Destroy each creature with power 2 or less. Return up to 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. And last, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the highest power among creatures they control. So all these are pretty good. Ideally for me, if I have a lot of creature cards in my graveyard that I need, chances are I would bring 2 of them back onto the graveyard. But mainly, my idea would be, putting up additional 2 +1/+1 counters onto my heavy hitter onto the battlefield, and also get my opponent to sacrifice a creature with the highest power among creatures they control, because I don't want to be dealing with that. So this card's really good. All right, Drown and Ichor. 2 drops, 1 black and 1 regular mana. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn, and you proliferate. And there are all my sorceries there. Alright, on to my lands here. I have 7 forest. Total of 6 swamps. 6 islands. And 6 plains. I try to keep everything even out. Most of my cards I'm running, however, are going to be either green and black. My fewest cards I have in here are blue. The special lands I'm running is Twilight Mire. With this land, you can either tap it for regular mana or pay 1 black or 1 green. You tap it, and you're getting either 2 black or 2 green, or just 1 black and 1 green. So this land is really situational. Orzhov Basilica. Enters tapped. Return a land you control to its owner's hand. You tap it for additional 1 white and 1 black. Temple of Deceit. Enters tapped. When it enters, you scry 1. You tap it for 1 blue or 1 black. Azorius Chancery. Enters tapped. As it enters, return land you control to its owner's hand. And you're tapping it for 1 white and 1 blue. Reliquary Tower. You have no maximum hand size. You tap for additional 1 regular mana. Command Tower. You tap it, add 1 mana of any color and your commander's color identity. Tanglepool Bridge. I like the way this land looks. As it enters the battlefield tapped, it's got indestructible. You could tap it for 1 green or 1 blue. Dimmer Aqueduct. Enters tapped. As it enters, return a land you control to its owner's hand. You tap for 1 blue and 1 black. Descendant Bog. You pay 1, you tap it, and add 1 black and 1 green. Arcane Sanctum. Enters tapped. You can tap it for 1 white, 1 blue, or 1 black. And last, Thornlint Bridge. It enters the battlefield tapped. It's indestructible. You tap it for 1 green or 1 white. So everyone, there you have it. This concludes my Toxic deck. Again, let me know what other suggestions or comments you guys have for this deck. I always like to hear from you guys. Again, with this card, Atraxa, Precious Voice, very good commander. I think it's like ranked number 1 as of right now on the commanders list. Just due to the fact that you can build so many different ways around this deck, whether it's planeswalkers or just straight up infect or anything like that. It's an adaptable card, really. So, but like with me, with this deck, I always like to add in a good mix and also to find out what works and what doesn't. So, again, these cards I got yesterday, they fit really well in the theme of what I'm trying to do with this deck. So, yeah, just comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching. Bye.